I'm Carol and this is Over 50 So What? No matter what happens, the sun still rises in the morning. And that's how an optimist thinks. So today we're going to learn some tips on how to be more optimistic with the guru himself, Victor Perton from the Centre for Optimism. Now, if the weather's a bit chilly while you're watching this today, a great way to keep warm is to move. So get on your feet and join in the 5-minute fitness segment. Now, lastly, you're going to have to stay to the end of the show because, shock, horror, I confess, I know nothing about footy or AFL. And I've been thrown in the deep end with a new program called Quick Kick, which is designed for mature women to get into footy. Who would have thought that I'd be kicking a football after all these years? Have you ever noticed how some people seem to be grumbling and complaining all the time, whereas other people seem upbeat, bright and perky? Have you ever wondered what is the secret to looking on the bright side of life? Well, today we chat with Victor Perton, the Chief Optimism Officer from the Centre for Optimism. Hi Victor, welcome to Over 50 So What? Very happy to see you on the show.
Carol, it is an absolute delight. But I love what you're doing here. You're uplifting the community, you're uplifting people, you're doing a fabulous job. So it's a great honour to join you this morning.
So what is optimism? As you're the Chief Optimism Officer, tell us, what is it?
It's a really good question. In fact, the oldest way it is phrased, I love, is from a English mystic called Mother Julian of Norwich, who lived 700 years ago during the Black Plague. And in her book, she has this wonderful phrase, all shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of thing shall be well. So it's this notion of looking forward. Everything doesn't need to be okay now, but things will work out. And had she lived 700 years, Carol, she could have written the Harvard Medical School definition of optimism, which is a belief that good things will happen and that things will work out in the end. And the last little bit I'll give, those of your viewers who are Deakin graduates, Deakin University has a professor of molecular psychiatry, Professor G. And when I asked her what makes her optimistic, she said, optimism is the evidence of dreams not yet realized. So it doesn't matter what age you are, optimism is that evidence of the dreams you have that haven't been realized. And one of the interviews I did was with a leadership guru who was 88. And he said to me, Victor, I'm optimistic because my best days are still ahead of me.
Yes, we interviewed a wonderful lady, 70-year-old entrepreneur, and her saying was, what you just mentioned there, it will work out in the end.
And that's what entrepreneurship's about. You know, it's about persistence, it's optimism, it's giving it a go.
Now, you've set up this thing called the Centre for Optimism because you have a saying about the fog of pessimism. Can you explain how this all happened?
Yeah, sure. So because you've mainly got an Australian audience, I can share. So I spent several years in the United States, living in Silicon Valley, but with an office in New York, to sell the idea of foreign direct investment in Australia and to support Australian exporters. Everywhere I went in America, there was this stereotype of Australians as the relentless optimists. And it opened doors. You know, every project we did was faster and speedier because people had this incredible stereotype of the Australian. And then I worked for Joe Hockey and Tony Abbott on the G20 presidency. Exactly the same, this complete trust in us. And then I came back to Melbourne and I was astonished by the negativity of language. And so a bit like you, rather than complain about the complainers and try and tell them they're wrong, we did a thing called the Australian Leadership Project. And we interviewed 2,500 people on the qualities of Australian leadership. We came up with 3 attributes of the Australian leader And the first one is egalitarianism. We're the only country in the world where you talk to the cleaner with the same respect as you talk to the chairman. Self-effacing humour. You and I laugh at ourselves. And then third, no bullshit plain speaking. Now, if we think of those three qualities, I reckon at least 80 to 90%, maybe even 100% of your viewers have got those attributes. At the end of the project, Carol, we were still bewildered as to the negativity. And my eureka moment came at the Global Integrity Summit in 2017, where after 3 days of unending, the world is getting worse, I changed my final speech on the final panel to the case for optimism. And it was electric. And Helen Clark, the former New Zealand Prime Minister, said, turn that into a book, Victor, and I will endorse it. And I did, and she did. And that eureka moment, Carol, was it wasn't the problem of leadership, it's the fog of pessimism. And if I can urge, I had an audience with the Dalai Lama 12 weeks ago now, and he was talking about grandparents and parents. The most important thing you can do is to be a beacon of optimism for your kids, for your grandkids, for all of those around you. And that's why our symbolism, we have that question, what makes you optimistic? And our beacon is a lighthouse early in the morning, Carol.
Wow, that's a fantastic stuff. When you were talking, saying, Australians are more optimistic, I had this thought in my mind, she'll be right, mate. That's like a real typical Aussie saying, and that's just saying everything's going to be fine.
Well, it goes beyond that, Carol, because she'll be right, mate, is the workman or workwoman saying to the boss, leave me to it, trust me, I'll get it done. And I had a really interesting episode. I was doing some work for an American executive. And in the middle of the meeting, for some reason, he just lost it. And he said, the problem with you Australians is your she'll be right attitude. And I looked at him and I said to him, look, you are much more of an expert on international culture than me, but you totally misunderstand the Australian. She'll be right, mate, is the self-reliant, resilient Aussie saying, we'll get it done. And it's interesting that misunderstanding and mistaking it for a manana. And that's why Australians, if you look at it over the centuries, Australians have been so innovative.
So what does make a person optimistic?
It's really variable. We've interviewed 20,000 people now, Carol. We've interviewed presidents, prime ministers. I've interviewed women digging ditches in India. And it's incredibly variable. It generally comes from the heart. For a lot of people, it comes from a faith in God or a faith in humanity or a faith in science. For most people, a big part of optimism is life experience. That knowledge that no matter what goes wrong in the day, the sun still rises in the morning. And then the other one is mindset. It's incredibly variable. You can still be an optimist and have that worry. And grief too. The thing about an optimist is that they have the same grief that everyone else does. But the optimist mindset says it'll work out in the end. I will start again tomorrow morning, or I'll start again next week.
So is optimism the way to a healthy old age?
Oh, that is a great question, Carol. There was a fantastic study that came out of the American military, Boston University and Harvard University. It was published 4 years ago. Big study over decades, tens of thousands of people. And they looked at healthy longevity, living to 85 in good physical and mental health. And they expected it to be wealth or income, genetics or geography, but they were confounded. The result was the trait most associated with healthy longevity is optimism. As we said earlier, a 90-year-old can say my best years are still ahead of me. And the pessimist can say life's not worth living. So it's very closely associated. And the research now is quite profound from universities all around the world that optimism is the key trait associated with healthy longevity. And if you can foster your own optimism and foster the optimism in your partner and your kids, grandkids, and those who work with you, life will be a lot better for everyone.
today, so I thought I'd show you how to get down to the floor so you've got less stress on your knees and your back. So put one foot forward, hands on the thigh, lower it down onto one knee, both knees, hands, put your bottom down and slide it out and relax. And we're ready to go. So legs straight on the top, put the heel to the ceiling, put the toe down to the ground. Let me go, lift, lift, lift. That's it. Just keep thinking of the heel to the ceiling. And we're working the gluteus medius here, helping to support the whole of the hip joint. So this is great for someone like myself who's heading for a hip replacement to help stabilize the hip area. Just do as many as you can and then have a rest if you get tired. Now we're going to hold it up. Then you're going to take the knee down right opposite the chest here and push back. So it's down and back, down. Keep it going. So if you do get tired, just rest the leg, a little bit of back. Just do a few more. Okay, now you can roll over to the back. I'm just going to swivel around. Face the other way. Bend the knees, relax the head. Straight leg on top. Toe pointing down to the floor. Lift. Lift. That's it. You should start to feel it right there. Lift. Lift. Keep it going. Okay, we're going to do what we did before. Take the knee down opposite the chest. Down and back. Down, back. Down. That's it. Just a few more. Okay. Bend the knees, roll over onto the back. We're going to do some abs. Hands up, keep the head up, looking out just over the top of the knees. See if you can keep the head in this position, like you've got a fist distance there. Up. So we're just doing little ones. Just watch out for the cat, he might jump on your stomach any minute. So strengthening abs. bit more resistance. And a few more. Okay, now we're going to do some work on the glutes. Okay? Lift the bottom up, down, up, down. Squeeze the buttocks. Squeeze, down. Squeeze, and down. That's it. Roll over onto your side. And this is how we get up. We get up onto our knees like this. Up onto the knees. One leg forward and push up. Now, to get up, you could use a chair if your knees are a bit dodgy. So, you could use a chair to push up or your thigh. So, push up. And that's it. We'll see you again tomorrow. You may be over 50, but have you ever thought about putting footy on your bucket list? Like myself, you may never have been given the opportunity to play footy. When I was growing up, there was hockey, there was netball, there was softball, there was athletics, there was gymnastics, but no footy. Well, ladies watching, there is now the chance for you, 50 plus, to get off the couch and come out and give footy a go. And it's called Quick Kick, and it's taking Australia by storm. Now here we have Sarah Lowe, who's the first female CEO in AFL competition. Hi Sarah.
Hey Carol, how you going?
Now Sarah is the creator of the most amazing program called Quick Kick.
Yes, Carol, the Quick Kick program was developed to encourage all sorts of women to come into the game, learn about the fundamentals and the basics. What's a football, how to kick, how to mark, how to handball, learn about the terminology, and just meet new people before they play the full game.
Well, as you know, I'm one of those people who knows nothing about footy. In fact, my friends watching this will be going, what? Carol's got the footy outfit on. I never thought I'd see the day. But you were determined to get me into it, and I think it's working.
That's great, Carol, and I think you're going to love it. I mean, it's just for anyone, any female that's always wanted to play footy and just thought they never could because they didn't know anything about the game or they've never touched a footy before. So it's exactly designed for women like that.
And it's also designed for the more mature. It's designed for 35 plus. So the game's modified. Can you tell us a bit about the modifications to make it safer?
Definitely. So in that level 1, what we're doing Quick Kick first is just to teach the fundamentals. Then you go to the level 2, which is that which is a very modified game. So there's no tackling, so it's really, really safe. It's a much smaller ground as well, and there's more opportunities to get a touch of the ball, have a kick of the ball, mark it, pass the ball around, and that's what it's all about, participation.
So the length of the field's about half the size, is it?
Oh, even smaller.
Oh,
even
really?
smaller than that. And that's the whole idea. You know, it's a great way to get fit. You know, football, you know, it's a very fitness orientated game. So if you're just starting and you don't have a lot of fitness, it's a great way to start because it's a modified ground, so you don't have to run that far.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real key and a real benefit. And that's what's attracting a lot of the women.
So I understand you put some sort of post on social media and you suddenly got swamped with thousands.
Swamped. Over 2,000 women registered already, and that was after one social post on Facebook. So, you know, and that's just in Victoria. This program's getting launched right across Australia, in every state. So there's a Quick Kick coordinator in every state that'll be promoting the game. But one social post, we're going to have all these women over 35, over 45, over 55, all coming to try football for the very first time. How great is that?
That's unbelievable. And you did mention there are a lot of women actually over 50.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'm over 50, so I wanted to, and I've played all my life, so I'm really lucky. But since I've been playing footy in the Masters, I've heard from so many women who it's their first time and they've never had this opportunity. and then I was watching them play, you know, in a normal game, and they were really, really struggling. So we wanted to create a program that was just for them. We needed to teach them the skills first and develop them and slowly build them up to the full game. So, yeah, it's just so wonderful to see women of all ages, but especially women of my age. We're called walkers, women of a certain age, you know, which is kind of like our code for we're over 50, without discussing our age.
Yes.
And it's just great to see, you know, these women have always wanted to play, and now they do, in a really safe environment.
And what's the cost involved with it?
It's no cost, it's free. We want women to play. I mean, in the future there may be a cost, but I think in this first year we just want women, we don't want any barriers. I don't want any reasons why a female doesn't want to play. So we remove the cost barrier, the risk of injury because there's no tackling. So it becomes a really, you know, attractive game, attractive option for people to keep fit and to meet new friends, like-minded women.
Yes, other walkers.
Other walkers.
All right, so the prerequisites are you don't have to have played footy ever before. You have to be over 35.
Yes.
Is there any upper limit?
No, we have got, I think the oldest player is probably about 68 at the moment. So, no, the older the better. Let's get as many women playing. Who cares? You've always wanted to do it, do it.
Yeah.
Now's the time. There's no better time, no safer environment with quick kick. Instead of having to play a full contact game, there's no contact. That's the benefit. And you get to wear the cool gear, like you are today, Carol.
The cool gear, that's right. So what would you say to the women out there who have maybe, you know, male friends and family members saying to them, oh, what are you thinking you're doing at your age as a woman going out to play footy? What would you say to them?
Well, we've heard a lot of that in the last few years. So a lot of the, you know, the partners or the husbands or even families, the kids have gone, Mum, are you sure? Or, you know, or you're a grandma, are you sure you should be doing this? It's a little bit dangerous. But I say to all those, to all the men, the families, even the kids, even the women, don't hear all those voices. If you've always wanted to do this, give it a go. And that's why we created Quick Kick. That's the whole idea. I mean, we can't make it any safer. And then to be able to say, you pull on the boots, get your mouth guard on, you wear some really cool gear, you meet new friends, just give it a go. I mean, who cares? Don't let the others tell us just because we're 50 we're not allowed to do something. Because we were all told. I was told as a young girl, no one's ever going to let any girls play footy. And I had to listen to that for over 3 decades. So we've made this happen. So don't listen to the noise. If you want to do it, give it a go.
So what would you say to the people watching about supporting their children and grandchildren, women in particular, about getting into footy?
Yeah, definitely. Look, for me, footy's great. When I came to Australia in 1977, I didn't have any friends, and my mother said we should play sport. And football was, like, cricket and football were the first sports that I played. And it was wonderful, not just for me to keep fit, but to make friends. And, you know, that's something that we all want, you know, to belong. So for me, I think it's it's excellent way. It's great skill that you're going to learn. It's part of the whole Victorian culture, and what better way to get involved and feel like you're part of something that's really, really big.
Awesome! I can't wait to catch up with you. I can't wait to learn how to kick a ball now.
Absolutely, can't wait to see you on the ground.
Thanks.
No problem, Carol.
Over 50, so what?
So, are you going to give footy a go? I mentioned it to a 63-year-old girlfriend of mine and she was up for it. If you'd like more info on the Quick Kick program for ladies, just head over to the website carolohalloran.com. Likewise, if you want to be more optimistic, you can find info on Victor Perton, the Centre for Optimism, on the website. Please connect with us on Facebook and YouTube, Over 50 So What. Send us your footy pictures and your stories and let us know how you go with being more optimistic. In the words of an optimist, it'll all work out in the end. All shall be well. And no matter what, the sun still rises in the morning. I'm Carol, over 50, so what?
Thanks for watching our TV show. Be sure to hit subscribe and then you'll never miss an episode. Jump on Facebook, join our group, get in on the fun, fitness, wellness and inspiration. I'm Carol, over 50. So what?